this is Keeper, and welcome to On Air, Tuesday, December 6th, 2011. Have we got a great show for you today? 4 different topics, starting out with the latest online advertising trends, information you need to know to build your business going forward into 2012 and beyond. We're also going to be taking another look at the DSA's, Direct Selling Association's, new national marketing campaign that will launch in mid-December. We were contacted by Amy Robertson of the DSA, and they're going to send over some information to us, but we want to bring you up to date once again on what it's all about. Also, some of you may have noticed that we took down on our YouTube channel the DSWA Responds Part 1. And the reason why we did this is because we needed to make an edit. And it's important that you listen to the reasons why, because it impacts your business every day that you have something on the internet. And last, we do our continuing countdown to Power 54, which will take place live on January 26th on DirectSellingLive, as we look back at Power 53, Power 53? Not quite yet. As we look back at Power 50, number 3, as we look back at numbers 44 through 41. I'll be with you in just a second.
A record-setting company, a category creator. Our success is deep-rooted in tremendous struggle, enormous sacrifice, and not allowing the odds to get us down. On the verge of death, success was our choice. Failure was never an option. The unity, the leadership, our dreams. This is Zango. We've done it.
Hi, this is Keeper, and welcome back to On Air, Tuesday, December 6, 2011. Today's first story, we're going to look at some of the latest online advertising news that will not only impact your business, but it will also give you a better sense of what's going on in terms of advertising. Advertising is changing quite a bit. What we're seeing is a lot of traditional media is beginning to move away from television commercial style advertising to bringing it to online, to sites like DirectSellingLive and others that have a lot of video content. The move in this direction towards advertising is that online advertising allows for greater consumer engagement, where they can actually get involved, if you want them to, directly through games, contests, promotions, surveys, and things like this, where traditional television advertising does not. You can use online advertising with commercials in front of a number of the videos that people use, certainly on DirectSellingLive. You can also use them with banner ads. In either case, you will be able to engage the consumer more greatly, which will give you a greater return on your investment, a greater way to measure what's going on. So I'm just going to share some of the latest news from eMarketer. eMarketer is an absolutely great website for anyone who's into marketing. It gives you the latest trends, it gives you the latest surveys, what's going on. Today we're going to look at a couple of things. We're going to look at video leads online, and we're also going to look at where minorities are when it comes to online advertising and just online mobile usage. As they reported in late November, U.S. online advertising ad spending has grown 43% and will continue into 2012. It goes on to say marketers are increasingly focused on creating video assets. Those are commercials. Those are things that interact with videos, video assets. This type of media reproduces the richness, as they go on to say, consumers associate with television and even beyond, often at a much, much lower cost. Even if online venues or online revenues, continue to fall short in terms of reach and scope, how they make up the difference, or how we make up the difference, is engaging consumers, keeping them on the site longer, keeping them in front of your brand longer, which is why it is such a great tool to use commercials and banner ads that have rich media content, but also have the interactive component built into it. eMarketer goes on to say, estimates that U.S. online video ad spending will grow by a compounded annual rate of 38% in the next 5 years. That will end in 2015. making it by far the fastest growing online spending category. What we're seeing in terms of video, ads, sponsorship, banner ads, these are the things that continue to grow. What is losing steam is search engine advertising, classified advertising is losing steam, email, and particularly lead generation, which is pretty interesting because a lot of people in direct selling go for lead generation, when in fact the trend is moving away from lead generation. It's moving highly and quickly into connecting with videos that are online. Lead generation in 2010, for instance, it was already in the negative, and in terms of any particular growth, it's so minuscule, it's not even worth the effort in a lot of cases. It also goes on to say that if we look at online ad spending format from 2010 to 2015, banner ads will grow $6 billion up to $11 billion. Classified advertising revenue will go from $2.6 billion up to $4.3 billion. Video will grow also, as I said, $1.4 billion, and will jump almost 4 times to just under $8 billion. Where lead generation, as I said, is remaining stagnant, is $1.3 billion and will come out around 2015 that year at $1.5 billion. It's not only this way here in the United States, it's taking place in the UK as well. If you're looking at advertising on the internet, you really want to look at creating rich media that you can align and connect with videos. In terms of minorities and their mobile usage, the Hispanic market is growing exponentially. Users are on mobile advertising or mobile devices 70% more than whites. And what is actually happening is the entire minority market across the spectrum is outpacing whites when it comes to mobile usage in just about any place. This is just not the U.S., it's all across the world. It goes on to say, while white minorities make up the lion's share of the U.S. market, mobile phones and for mobile internet users, a new eMarketer forecast estimates that Hispanics, Asians, and black mobile users in the U.S. will access the internet more than their white counterparts. Hispanics almost 3 times to 1. So if you're looking at the Hispanic market, that's something you want to look into. 2/3 of the U.S. mobile users will be white at the end of the year, decreasing to 64% in 2015. It's just going to drop very, very much in terms of the white market and usage for mobile and internet advertising. As blacks and Hispanics and Asians are pretty much just growing by leaps and bounds. Whites have the largest percentage of mobile phone usage throughout their generation at 78%, compared to 77 among Asians, 74 among blacks, and comparatively a low 69 with the Hispanic. All these groups, though, are beginning to overtake the white market. So that's just some basic information you might want to be interested in. You might be interested in. More than half the Hispanics who own mobile phones, for instance, will use the mobile internet this year. And by 2015, it will rise to 71%. Nearly as many blacks and Asians will use the mobile internet. By 2015, we're already seeing a tremendous number. We've already seen that number grow through 2011. Minority mobile users, the likelihood will be online as they age. And the reason why they're going to be more online compared to whites is because they're younger. The white market is slowing down. You guys just aren't having as many babies. Speaking of those of you who might fall into the white population, you're just not having as many babies, and minorities are having more and more. And because they're younger, they're more apt to get into mobile devices, use internet a lot more. So there's a great opportunity for those of you that are looking at mobile advertising. As you can see, I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been talking so much. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the DSA's new ad campaign to come out this mid-December. Excuse me, in mid-January. I'll be back in a second. This year, Direct Selling News, the magazine and online media company that serves more of the executives in direct selling than any other part of our community, has reported that the DSA is going to launch a new pilot program as a national campaign to increase awareness and education about direct selling. I will read what they said, and I'll also let you know that we did put out an email request to Amy Robinson, and we did hear back from her requesting information on it so we can share it with you. In industry news, news in brief, in the Direct Selling News, that particular publication says DSA Pilot National Program. DSA is developing a testing marketing campaign designed to improve the awareness and understanding of direct selling in the marketplace. This is going to launch in mid-January. It will be a 12-week program that they will use to test and see what will need to be adjusted, what will need to be edited, what will need to be taken out, and what can be added to make it even more valuable to not only the direct seller, direct selling company, and to the consumer. During this 12-week period, it will use targeted digital advertising and will run in several cities across the country here in the United States. In some markets, which this is going to be a little different for the DSA, in some markets are actually going to use messaging delivered by independent distributors. So we're going to see what type of response that is being conveyed directly from the consumer to the distributor, who could then bring it back to their company. So it's going to be a great way to look at what's going on. As you all know, direct selling can have a negative view of it by a lot of people, and it's up to us to own the marketing and really do it in a big, bold way and get involved in a number of things outside of direct selling. As you know, I advocate this quite a bit. We need to come outside of our community and get involved and get engaged in a number of issues, from social to political to environmental, and make the world know that we do care and that we are involved, because it will help us create the voice that we need to better sustain our marketing efforts and get people to better understand who we are. The campaign will focus on several key messages about direct selling to provide education about the business, as I said, and about the business model, and encourage recruiting, which is always a good thing. It's lead generation. The pilot program is part of the DSA's new ERA program, which emphasizes enhancement, recruiting, and awareness for the direct selling general public. Now, the interesting part of this story that I'm looking forward to learning more about is it says that as they roll out the program, it's designed to create positive a positive view of direct selling in the marketplace for the DSA member companies. Now, a lot of companies aren't with the DSA. I'm sure it's not just for the DSA member companies. There'll be some residual gains from everyone else. But I think it's interesting that it would state here that it's for the DSA member companies. As I said earlier, we did get a response back from Amy Robinson, the Vice President of Marketing over at the DSA, and she has kindly stated that she will be sending OnAIR the information on the pilot program sometime next week. She's on the road. When she gets back, we're looking forward to getting it. We've invited her to come on to OnAIR and talk about it. I think it would be really, really good for you all to hear directly from one of the person who's very instrumental in creating this new national marketing campaign. So once we get the information next week from Amy Robinson, we will break it down and we will start to tell you more about it. So I think it's going to look like a very exciting 2012 for direct selling. When I come back, the reason why we took down the DSWA filing response off our YouTube page, don't worry, it will be going back up in the next day or so. Some editing issues, and it's issues that you need to know about in terms of your exposure on direct selling and what we can and can't do. When I come back.
A record-setting company, a category creator. Our success is deep-rooted in tremendous struggle, enormous sacrifice, and not allowing the odds to get us down. On the verge of death, success was our choice. Failure was never an option. The unity, the leadership, our dreams. This is Zango. We've done it.
As you know, a lot of people have a lot of content on the internet. You'll see it on sites like DirectSellingLive, you'll see it on Facebook, you'll see it on YouTube, you'll see it on Vimeo, videos and things like this. Earlier this week, or excuse me, on December 1st, sorry, like I said, I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm talking so much, just involved in so many different things. However, I digress. Last week on December 1st, DirectSellingLive launched part 1 of Direct Selling Association, Women's Associations finally responding to our questions on social and political issues that impact primarily women here in the United States. They've just shied away from it. And we did get the call from Grace Kikohoho over at DSWA, one of the co-founders, and we started the 2-part story on their response. In doing so, we looked through the internet to find some content that we can use to put with the story that will allow us to show and bring comparison, bring some color to what we're talking about. I got a call from the woman who owns some of the content that we use. Her name is Laurel Barrett over at Heroes for Humanity. Fantastic, fantastic company. I met Laurel about 3-4 years ago at a DSWA event. Just an absolutely wonderful woman. But the phone call was really about asking, number one, why are we using her content without her permission? And number two, demanding that we take it off. Well, if you have your information in the internet and you have it on sites that are photo sharing or they are video sharing and you upload them or someone from your company uploads them, there are a number of copyrights that you have, but there are a number of copyrights that you have just granted over to the people that are members of the site, particularly those people that are in media. It's called the Fair Use Law. And when you're in media, you have access to the Fair Use Law. I'm going to read it. There are some issues with the content that Laura had, and after listening to her, I wholeheartedly concur that it would be in not only it would be in the best interest for everyone that we remove it, because we really don't need to have it. We don't want to impact someone negatively, so typically we wouldn't do this. But in this case, I felt that it was justified because of what she was looking to do. It turns out that the video that she had online was supposed to be password protected. And the people who uploaded it did not password protect it. If you ever look on say YouTube or Facebook or DirectSellingLive, anytime it has embed capabilities, you've just given over just granted permission for anyone to embed the video on their site, in their news broadcast. In fact, it's a little broader for a news broadcast. But you just handed over permission to allow people to do it. And of course, there are pros and cons to it. The greatest aspect of it is you want people to learn about what it is that you're talking about. You want to learn about your brand. You want them to learn about who you are so they can spread the word virally, because there's no better and there's no faster, there's no cheaper way of advertising than free viral advertising that's being pushed out by thousands, hopefully millions of people. But there are things that you give up in the process. If you look into the licenses agreement when you sign on to any site that does this, there's usually a license agreement and a license to other users. For instance, in the Vimeo, it goes to say, this is not even the fair use law, but I'm going to get to that in just a second. You need to understand, though, this is what you're doing, okay? License to other users. You further grant all users of the Vimeo service permission to view your videos for their personal, non-commercial purposes. This includes the right to copy and make additional copies, create their own unoriginals, imaginative, plagiaristic, lacking in originality works from the video solely to the extent necessary to view the videos, which is exactly what we did. Under the fair use law, which is primarily here in the United States, fair use recognizes that certain types of use of other people's copyrighted protected do not require copyright holders' authorization. In these instances, it is presumed that it is presumed the use is minimal enough that it does not interfere with the copyright holders' exclusive rights to reproduce or otherwise reuse the work. Fair use is primarily designed to allow the use of copyright protected work for commentary, parody, news reporting, research, and education, which is exactly how we were doing it. The way that we were using it was not going to interfere with her ability to reproduce, to market her product. Like I said early on, it was not supposed to be out there visibly like that. It was supposed to be copy, password protected. And once we talked about it, I came to realize that's what was going on. I decided, well, sure, I will gladly take it down in that instance. I will gladly take your word for it. Because she's a very, very nice lady. She's working on a great project, and we don't want to interfere with anything that she has going on as it relates to her being able to market and produce and attract investors. But for everyone else, if you have it out there, we can use it. We are news. We are using commentary. And as long as we're not running the entire thing, and it's minimal so that it brings color or helps to get the point across in a news story, we can use it. So just be aware of that. When you have your stuff out there, which is one of the challenges with so many people having Facebook, they're just throwing everything out there. And as we're all seeing and learning, that stuff is up for grabs. It can be used against you, just in the same way that news companies and organizations can use it to their advantage. You, of course, can use it to yours. When I come back, we're going to continue the countdown to the 2012 Power 50, Power 54, as we look at last year's Power 50, numbers 44 through 41. I'll be right back.
A record-setting company, a category creator. Our success is deep-rooted in tremendous struggle, enormous sacrifice, and not allowing the odds to get us down. On the verge of death, success was our choice. Failure was never an option. The unity, the leadership, our dreams. This is Ango. We've done it.
Hi, this is Keeper, and welcome back. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do the countdown to the Power 50. We've run into some technical issues. Some of the information that we need has mysteriously disappeared. Clear. This is closed. Welcome back to On Air. As we have planned to do the Power 50 countdown, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do. We run into some technical issues here, and so we're not going to be able to do it. We will pick up with the countdown to the Power 50 tomorrow, where we will actually look at, instead of 4, we will look at 8 of the 2011 Power 50 or Power 53. So we'll look at 8 different people tomorrow in our countdown. We're going to be counting down all the way to number 1 as we get ready for Power 54, which will be live on DirectSellingLive January 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. A program note: this Friday, On Air will have as a special guest Deb Bixler. Deb Bixler, one of the top consultants in direct selling. We're going to have her on to talk about the funnel program, the funnel leads generation program, something that she is very, very popular with. You're not going to want to miss this. It's a really great concept. It's a really great way of making sure that your back end is constantly having people moving through it, so that you are constantly building leads and building your business. That will be Friday on December 9th? Anyway, it will be Friday. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.